I guess we ought to go over another film. That how we used to think that the AEW television program had crummy booking and was overly indulgent to the indie wrestlers. So they decided, we'll show you some crummy booking and overindulgency to the indie wrestlers. And Brian, this has turned into, I don't know what you can call it. It's incomprehensible. It's like if you had a wrestling party when you were a teenager and all of your friends came over and everybody decided they just play wrestling and they just do shit and everybody runs into other people's thing and they'd, oh, it'd be cool if we did this. And can you keep track of what happens on this program without taking notes? I take notes and I still can't remember what happened at the top of the segment. By the time they get to the 21st person that comes out and does something, it's just a bunch of people running around fucking doing shit, isn't it?
Well, there's a lot of the same people running around doing it. Some of the people that get over just disappear off TV like the Hurt Syndicate. They appear like in a backstage vignette for a minute. But they're doubling and tripling down on everything that appeals to their most hardcore core base. And I don't know if that resonates with everyone. The show is not fun to watch. You know, sometimes there's a lot of stuff happening, and then other times things are happening for a very long time. And it just takes forever. It's, I don't think it's very good. I think it's actually been a really bad show for a while. It's just there's more action now in terms of like craziness. And that, you know, again, we'll talk about the murder angle. I don't know what you want to call it, the attempted murder angle. But I'm not a fan of that kind of stuff either. That's not necessarily people running around. That's just creative that I find insulting as a wrestling fan. Because it's too over the top. It's too preposterous.
Well, and I mean, if it's not even done well in any, no matter how you view this, if you're viewing it as drama, film noir, murder mystery, comedy, whatever, it's not done well because it's not done believably and it's not acted professionally and it's not goddamn written professionally and it's not shot professionally. So regardless of whether you're just being mad because it's bad wrestling, what is it supposed to be good of? We'll talk about it. They were in Glasgow. They actually had two people that were over like God on this program, and neither one of them could wrestle. Or one of them has one more match before he can't wrestle. At the top of the program, Bryan Danielson comes out and makes an entrance, and the whole crowd yeses. And he's going to do color commentary because he's had to obviously retire. And then here comes Will Ospreay. And he's his home turf, his home United Kingdom, whatever. I know he's not particularly from Scotland, but he's over there with that crowd. And he gets in the ring and barely tells them that he ain't going to be able to wrestle past Sunday either. So he didn't really tell him that. Between the echo of the PA mic and his accent and the voice and the fact that he was talking quickly, yes, I know all those folks over there understood him. I got about 50% of it, but he told a story about his first trip to Scotland and ended it with something about sausage rolls that got a big pop. Did you follow that trip with him as he told that long, rollicking story?
Again, the audio was pretty bad here, but also he kept like alluding to, you expected him to say, I have to get neck surgery. I'm going to be gone for a while. And he kept alluding to it and almost getting there. And then he would like take a step back and get a pop.
No, he didn't even, that's the thing. He alluded to everything. He said, this has been the worst week of my life. I got news last week. I'm scared. I'm terrified. I'm like, is he pregnant now? And he said, no, here's the truth. I'm not cleared for Forbidden Door. But it's a lights out unsanctioned match. AEW is not responsible, so it's all on me. So I'm going to wrestle. And I'm aware of the risk. What risk? He hasn't told us what the problem is. If there's a chance that I can't be Will Ospreay after Sunday, I know I'm going to leave it all in the ring. And me and the other 4 clowns, whoever the fuck is in this 10-man cage match, are going to beat the Death Riders before they take a scalpel to me. For what? That's when Moxley's music starts, and he's got to come in all the way from the parking lot, so they're going to waste all kinds of time. That's when the Sockface and the announcers kind of jumped in to explain that he was getting neck surgery, but not even really explaining that. So before we go to the rest of the promo, my question is, did he just assume that everybody knew, or he just fumbled telling everybody? Which one do you suppose?
I'm not sure. Because he kind of alluded to things in the last promo we saw with him, and then he never said anything there either. I don't know if it's supposed to be just fans who understand online buzz that he has a bad neck. If he has a bad neck, why would it be like, okay, the doc says I can have one more crazy cage match before surgery?
Well, no, that's the thing. He really does have a bad neck, and he's really going to get surgery, but he's really also going to have this fucking goofy 10-man cage match.
And by the way, here are the teams. Let's see how many of these people are full-time AEW wrestlers. The Golden Lovers of Kenny Omega and Kota Ibushi, teaming with Will Ospreay, Darby Allin, and Hiroshi Tanahashi versus the Death Riders of Claudio and Moxley, the Young Bucks, a frickin' frack, and Gabe Kidd.
Well, we're going to get to Tanahashi in a second because, my God, good Lord. Wild Bull Curry at 80. Looked like fucking Tiger Mask next to this fucking guy. But Moxley gets in the ring and they go face to face and nothing happens. And there's Claudio and there's old Wheeler and they get up on the apron. And he said, "Oh, why don't you, Moxley, do it yourself?" And then suddenly, here comes Kevin Knight and Hong Kong Phooey, and they slide in the ring to no reaction whatsoever. And they start having a sloppy fake fight. It looks embarrassing. And then they play music, and here comes Tanahashi, and now the people pop. And the heels just stand there, and Tanahashi, he comes down the ramp with his gut bouncing and limp to the ring like he was crippled. And the heels had to run into him and bounce off of him. And then they rang the bell to start a 6-man tag match. But again, so this Tanahashi is one of the people in the 10-man cage Zabada, is what you're saying.
Yes, representing New Japan.
Not very well, apparently. It was Dick the Boozer, Claudio, and Useless against Spitball and Kevin Knight and his Tanahashi. And they rang the bell. We're already 15 minutes in the program with all this other foolishness. And Tanahashi started out moving like he was in a body cast. And you're never going to believe this, Brian. Well, I know you saw it. You probably still couldn't believe it. He and Moxley got in the middle and they started trading the lightest, fakest forearms ever. Even Claudio was barely touching him. They were treating him like he was a Fabergé egg. Will his body parts fall apart if somebody was to body slam him? What? So after Tanahashi got out of the ring, I skipped to the finish because Jesus Christ. apparently Gabe Kidd and a bunch of guys that I've never heard of. I've never even heard him say these names on his television show. They came out and interfered by stopping Tanahashi from, if he was going to do it like he did it later, from falling off the top rope. And the fans didn't care, and then nothing happened. They all just stood on the floor while the match went on. But then Ospreay, who had kidnapped Marina Shafir away from ringside earlier in the match, brings out a body bag with somebody in it. And all the kids did some dives, and Grandpa Tanahashi fell off the top rope on Wheeler 1, 2, 3. But then all 8 of the heels, the people in the match and the fucking unknown people on the floor, jumped in and started kicking the shit out of the 3 baby faces in the ring. But Ospreay didn't go to help them because he was standing there holding the fucking bag with the body in it. So then the Buckaroos came out from behind Ospreay and double super kicked him. And he goes down with the bag. But then Roderick Strong and Kyle O'Reilly attacked the Buckaroos, and they fought off. And we didn't see them again. Because now Moxley and Claudio and Useless got the bag to get Marina out of the bag. And when they opened it up, it was Darby. And Ospreay and Darby start fighting the heels with Samoa Joe and Hobbs and Shapoopy out to help them. And everybody had a fake fight through the crowd, through the arena, into the back that wouldn't stop and kept going, with most of the people in the street clothes, so you couldn't tell who anybody was back there anyway, and it was dark. But they had to kill time so that Darby could get to the top of the balcony area and coffin drop everybody in this 14 or 15 man pack. But he did it in the dark with no lights, so you could barely see it. And then everybody left. What the fuck? Was this the biggest mess in the history of television? This looked like some Russo shit in TNA. Who even started this fucking thing?
The Ospreay, I'm going to have to leave for a while promo is what started it. And then it's amazing when you have a segment with the worst batch of baby faces ever. And then you realize it's the worst batch of heels ever. Like, it's just, there's no star power. It's not very good. And, you know, Tanahashi or Takahashi or, you know, anyone who appears on this show. No, I'm saying anyone
I thought it's Tanahashi, but there also is a Takahashi.
Yeah, anyone who appears on this show, it's like they've been doing Forbidden Door for a while. They keep getting the older guys who are broken down. If you notice, there's no young talent coming out of New Japan that anyone wants to see. They just had Takeshita go over there.
Where'd Takeshita go?
He just went over there. He won their G1.
Well, why haven't we been seeing him? If this Ishii, a potato with arms and legs, just an immobile, funny-looking fuck, or Suzuki, or this Tanahashi, or the other Takahashi, or all these people that look like they can't fucking breathe, much less wrestle. But they've got our boy Take, and they send him to Japan. Keep these motherfuckers and bring him back. Good. And Okada, they could make him the captain of the steamship to ship all these son of a bitches back home. Boring, overpaid, fucking lackadaisical, blasé son of a bitch.
We'll see what happens. That was the first of the... It's now an AEW thing, the rolling segment. One thing rolls right into the next commercial break.
Well, when they came back from the commercial break, by cracky, it was time for Tony Schiavone to bring out Edge and Christian Cage. And he brought out Edge, and the fans loved to sing over there. They sang his song even when they cut his song and they were still singing it. And then Christian Cage comes out and he starts to heal the crowd. And Edge shuts him up, and these people love us. But you are what you are, you're an asshole. So now the story is that Edge knows Christian is an asshole, but sometimes you need an asshole, and at least he's my asshole. And when Christian went to find himself, he found out that he was perfect and he doesn't need to change anything. At least it's different, Brian. You can't say this one's been done before. Any of this turn or the angles for the turn or the participants of the turn. So Edge and Christian aren't on the same page, but they are writing in the same book. And Edge promised him, and so he promises Edge that Edge is going to help him with Nick and Pip, and then he's going to help Edge with FTR. And he gives Edge his word and shakes his hand. He's going to be the best partner that Edge ever had. And the crowd pops when they shake hands because they want to see them back together. And then here comes, and now this whole goddamn convoluted deal that, again, you could buy, and we said we wouldn't mind seeing at one point a reunion of Edge and Christian against FTR. You're thinking that on this program and with this roster, that'd probably be one of the more attractive things you could see.
And that's what they wanted, too. That's what FTR and Cope have really wanted.
But then you throw Nick Plain and the mother and Pip and all this other parsley into the thing, and now it's confusing. Well, now that they've done all that, when Pip and Mama Wayne come out, they're letting her speak now. Good Lord. She introduced a video on the screen of Nick on crutches reciting a memorized statement in a very menacing and threatening fashion. And basically, he broke his fucking foot. And they wouldn't be doing this if he really didn't have a broken foot. Because, no, I'm out of Forbidden Door. I'm out of this angle. Now, another one of these fucking guys does something and fucking breaks something in the middle of the goddamn deal, and now he's out of the pay-per-view. But he said, if I would have been able to show up this weekend, I would have finished you off. And then he says, I'm always one step ahead. And he delivers it like this fucking juvenile delinquent is Lex goddamn Luthor, right? But then they play music. And now you have a video of a mad scientist laboratory, a mad doctor with a goddamn medieval looking hypodermic needle, and he shoots something and a blah, blah, blah. And on the table that pops up and does an Undertaker sit up is Dino Douche, our old friend Dino Douche, a.k.a. Luchasaurus.
I believe is his Christian name.
Well, no, because it's Kill Switch, but they were chanting Luchasaurus because the fans here forgot that they changed his name. So this goddamn egghead is back. And again, he looks like $1 million, and he, in the early days, was responsible for many of the rottener matches because he don't know what the fuck he's doing. Apparently, he never figured it out. But he's back, and he comes out and chokeslams Edge and stares at Christian because they used to be aligned, and then they had the breakup. And that's where the fans chanted Luchasaurus. By the way,
did they have a breakup? Or did he just get hurt and he never came back?
They had the awkward relationship where he was bullying Dino or whatever the fuck they did. But when you think about this, as here comes the guy, he hits the ring, he chokeslams the only legitimate babyface involved in this whole deal, and the people are chanting his name. But then he turns around and he chokeslams Christian Cage right on his fucking shoulder. What this fucking guy is rotten. His timing, his psychology, his execution, and he thinks he's a goddamn horror movie star. I bet his time off has done nothing for the smoothness of his performance.
There are fans who think that it was Jack Perry's arm in the video preparing the hypodermic needle to bring Luchasaurus back to life.
Hey, I'm not saying that there might not be a possibility that you could get some video of Jack Perry preparing a hypodermic needle, but I don't think he'd be shoving it in somebody else's arm.
Well, again, we're not going to make any presumptions, or I don't know what you're alluding to there. We have not heard anything about that.
Well, he's the guy that came out and set a motherfucker on fire. Wasn't he? Or was he the guy that got set on fire? Didn't he set somebody on fire too? And they're all on the marijuana pills, all these young people.
Well, wait a minute. Where was the fire? Was there a fire incident? Who did it? And who was the perpetrator?
Got set. That's right. He got set on fire.
By who?
I can't remember. Somebody with a flamethrower. Was it Darby? It sounds like something he'd do.
Oh, maybe. Cody got lit on fire in the early days. Remember, he had all that crap on his back and could notice it. Like, hey, what's on Cody's back? Oh, it's in flames.
Yeah. But no, this was with the flamethrower, the way people are supposed to do it. But and also here, that's something else. We actually make notes on this shit and go over this shit, and we can't remember who flamethrower Jack Perry.
So Nick Wayne's mom's going over to England and he stays home?
Apparently. Well, mom's night out. She got somebody to watch the kids. She can go out there. Oh, boy. Merry old England. You know how England swings like a pendulum do.
Well, I'm sure, Jim, after all that swinging, you may need a good night's rest.
I swear to God, I was about to tell you how tired I was. I was about this time I was having a hard time keeping my eyes open. And I'll tell you what, it's times like that. At the end of the day, when you've had a long, hard day and you've watched a lot of stupid people do shit, and you just want to lay down somewhere comfortable and just forget about your troubles, forget about your cares, lay your worries on the old doorstep and just dive onto a Helix mattress. And and you can, now they have mattresses from Helix with diving boards. If you want to get in your exercise at the same time, they've got the 8-foot and the 12-foot. You get up on that thing.
And they don't.
And you just come right off of that diving board into the Helix mattress where it's like landing in a cloud.
Again,
it goes poof.
It's a poofy, nice idea, but it is not a realistic idea. Certainly not sold by Helix, but what they do sell, Jim, are great mattresses. Yes. We have them here at Last Manor. We are big fans of Helix. I know you have them over there.
Yes.
Helix Sleep.
I have them here often. They come over for dinner sometimes. Every once in a while, I'll just stop by for a sandwich. But folks, if you've got any problems with sleeping, you sleep hot, you sleep cold, you sleep, you're achy, and you got a snoring, back pain, gonorrhea, no, I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. That's apnea. If you got sleep apnea, because most of the time when people get gonorrhea, 80 or 90% of the time, they're awake.
We're not talking gonorrhea. We're talking sleep apnea, but we're not really talking that. We're talking a good night's sleep. And what?
Well, we're talking about something that can help with your sleep apnea. They have mattresses that address all kinds of specific sleep issues. And you can find one by going to helixsleep.com and taking the quiz and telling them how you like things. And they'll do things the way you like. Hey, guys, I'll tell you what, I know that you want somebody out there that will do things you like on a mattress, and Helix is that place you can go. And as a matter of fact, their phone operators have incredible voices, too.
They will be left alone, except to help you order your mattress. And again, why use the phone when the website is right there? Helix Sleep, and of course, we have a promo code to let the listeners know.
Well, that's right, because they had to give up the old 800 number, 1-800-LAY-ME. But right now, if you go to helixsleep.com.
Not their number, but yes, go there.
Well, no, they gave it up. Yeah, they were getting a lot of side business over there, though. But you can use your Apple Watch or your Ouija ring, Aura ring, or Aura ring.
Your
if you got
Apple
one of
Watch,
those things that tracks your sleeping, you can use it and see the improvements. See?
Again, let's focus on what we can definitely see and let alone feel.
I tell you, I always had problems sleeping with my watch on because I toss and turn in the middle of the night, and every once in a while I'd slap myself right in the forehead with that big old watch. Boom, and I'd have a big circle on my head when I woke up. Folks, right now, Helix Sleep, they got the Labor Day sale going on. It's the best of the web offer, and we're the best of the web. And this is an exclusive offer for listeners of this fine program, the Jim Cornette Experience. Right now, you go to helixsleep.com/JCE, and you're going to get 27% off site-wide. Any of these amazing mattresses. And if they got kids' mattresses, adults' mattresses, senior citizens' mattresses. They might even have something for your dog or cat to sleep on if you talk to them nice, and more than a quarter off. Not a quarter as in 25 cents, but a quarter as in a quarter of the percentage of the total cost of the item. Well, you're saving 27%. How can you do any better than that?
It's a great time to get a new mattress.
That's right. It's a great time to get a new mattress, or just get one now and keep it in the garage for when you need it, because you're going to save money.
That's getting a new mattress.
Yes. Well, you don't have to sleep on it right now. Well, you could just put it on the shelf and wait for later, because then it's just going to go up. You know how these things are. They just go up. helixsleep.com/JCE, 27% off. Labor Day sale.
All right. Well, this remains your show.
Well, I didn't expect you to play the music there. I just thought we would segue on into other things. I know what you're going to say, Brian. You're going to say, who won the final match of the tag team tournament to get the tag team championship shot at Forbidden Door? That's the question you're going to ask me, wasn't it?
Yeah, of course. I mean, that's a big match for the tag titles coming up. Another great big match for the titles.
Another great big match. Well, it came down to FTR against Bandito and Brody King to see who would face Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin, the Hurt Syndicate, for the tag team title at Forbidden Door. And again, why is the door so forbidden? Everybody's come through it. It's not like you've gone to the old Indian burial ground and you've never returned. Everybody's come through that door, gone back, come back. It's like a revolving forbidden door. There's nobody else that's still forbidden that can come through it, is there?
For New Japan, it hasn't been good. People go through that door, they never come back.
Well, they always come back on this show, the one that I'm watching. They're here all the fucking time. I don't care what they do over there. They could go about their business. So, what this was another match where, bless them for their effort. But FTR want to have the greatest tag team match of all time, every time. And they never give thought to the fact that their opponents can't pull it off, and it gets too complicated, and it gets sloppy, or it gets lost, or they're 2 steps behind. And they try to cooperate with all the stupid shit that their various opponents do. In this case, Bandito with his, I don't know what the fucking deal is, where he just rolls over people and does handstands and back and whatever. But it was a 30-minute draw, not to spoil anything, 30-minute time limit draw. Brody King got color, he got juice, because that's the thing that he does best. And Bandito did a lot of screwy shit because that's what he does best. And FTR can't set up a match to the level of their opponent and make them look good without trying to make them look so good that they end up making them look worse than they usually do. Does that make sense to you?
It makes sense to me, but you're the biggest expert on tag team wrestling I know, so when you say it, it really matters.
Well, I mean, they caught the lightning in the bottle with Jay White and Juice Robinson, and Bandito and Brody King, neither one is Jay White or Juice Robinson. And Jay and Juice were an experienced tag team from Japan or whatever, and they knew enough of each other that yes, they pulled it off. But here with everybody, it's just excessive over and over and too complicated and too many swerves and false finishes and bells and whistles. And then they set up the 30-minute draw so that the very last move at the bell was Cash diving through a fucking table on the floor. Crash! Ding, ding, ding! What the fuck? It used to be, oh my God, the team that we wanted to win almost won in the small package, but the bell rang. Now it's just, oh, we got one more piece of furniture in before we had to quit. And then within 30 seconds, Tony Khan had sent word to the girl ring announcer, Lois Lane, whatever her name is, that now both teams will face the Hurt Syndicate in a 3-way at the pay-per-view. Well, at least they came up with a novel way to settle this. And they sent Bobby Lashley and Shelton Benjamin out with music to stare at these people. So now we got 3-way. Another. Last month, the tag title match was a 3-way. Why don't they just book a handicap match with 4 of their regular guys against Lashley and Benjamin? Then it would be even and it'd still be a regular match.
They just want to get the belts off Lashley and Benjamin, and Lashley and Benjamin are probably saying, how are we going to do that? And their best way is, how about we pin someone else?
Yeah. These guys come in, they get over, they get the fans interested, they have professional matches for once on this program. And Tony was completely unable to get any tag team over to face them for the belts that anybody thought could legitimately give them an issue, and was expecting them to work with these fucking underneath children that they obviously was like, what the fuck? We got over. We did our job. Why do you want us to try to get these fucking clowns over that aren't ready for this shit? Remember, he thought it was a good idea, Tony did, to put them against Knight and Spitball. The fuck, it just accentuated how weak Knight and Spitball were. So I'm gobsmacked they dropped the ball on them, the Hurt Syndicate. I'm gobsmacked they cut the deal off with MJF and dropped that whole thing because they obviously didn't know where the fuck it was going. So anyway, that was what happened there with those people. What were we talking about?
The tag title match coming up.
Oh, yes. Going to be a 3-way. And then they bring Adam Page to the ring. And I wrote, Jesus, now this douchebag is going to talk. And he's mad that MJF jumped him in the parking lot last week. It could have been worse. He could have burned your house down. And then he called MJF out, but he knew that he wouldn't come out because he's a coward. And then he did another one of his fake tough guy promos. And when he was done, then they played MJF's music, and MJF didn't come out. And then the music stopped. But then Tony Schiavone at ringside, he goes, wait a minute, he's listening to his headset. Well, there's a message. MJF has got a cameraman in the back, and he's got a message for you. And if you leave the ring before he finishes his message, something bad will happen. Yeah, we'll have to watch the rest of this segment. You know the best thing about this segment, Brian? Did you notice the best thing about the segment?
No.
Was the fine Cornette's Collectibles customer that was standing behind Tony Schiavone with the I'm a Jim Cornette guy t-shirt on. And he didn't move. He didn't move a muscle, and they couldn't apparently figure out a way to shoot Tony any other way. But then MJF comes up on the screen, and remember I've said it before, you can never praise anybody, Brian, or recognize anybody's talent, or say that they might have something special that they don't eventually do something to disappoint you and just make you think, why the fuck did I ever goddamn say anything good about this? If he was forced to do this, I apologize. If he did it on purpose, he's not as smart as I thought he was. But MJF is there with Ricochet and two job guys, whatever their fucking names are. And they had kidnapped Mark Briscoe and tied him to a chair and gagged him. Now, this is about the third or fourth person in the course of the run of this program that has been kidnapped and tied up, taken away, and held for ransom, tied to a chair and gagged, right? So it's not even groundbreaking there. But now MJF cuts a promo and says, well, you got to stand there and listen to me. And if you don't do the three things I want you to do, then he takes a gas can and pours gasoline over the top of Mark Briscoe, who apparently has been put in a medically induced coma because he's not even selling. He's unconscious. If he was unconscious that long, chances are he would have fucking flatlined without some goddamn defibrillator. He pours gas over Mark Briscoe's head and says, I'm going to set him on fire, and he's got the lighter. I'm going to set him on fire unless you agree that our match on Sunday, the title can change hands on disqualification or count out, and I don't have to use my contract to get the title match. Now you're just giving it to me anyway. Or I'm going to set this guy on fire. In this fake skit with this fake gasoline, with this fake bullshit that I'm saying about this fake match we're going to have. He's going to, yes, an American citizen is going to immolate another American citizen in a foreign country. Can you imagine the paperwork alone? Nobody'd be able to figure out how to fill out those forms. What the fuck? The carnage over at Carnaby Street. I don't know what these people are making me do.
There's a killer on the King's Road.
There's a killer on the road. His body's frying like a toad because we set him on fire because the situation's dire. My pay-per-view is sagging and I'm really lagging. My business is dead. So anyway, he gave Paige the count of 5 to agree to these things. Paige said okay at 4. So apparently he had to think a minute about how enamored he was of Mark Briscoe. And so, okay, so now they took back, he didn't need to goad the devil. The devil didn't need to goddamn flip out and get mad and say, okay, I'll execute the contract, because now they take it back the next week and the title can change by disqualification or count out. And they probably ain't going to change the belt anyway. They're just trying to make people think Paige is in jeopardy. To be honest, if they did a real good job of convincing people that somebody would beat Paige, they'd probably get a good buy rate. But are they all on that kratom that we've been hearing about? That they think this is good television? Who is this for? Like I said, it wasn't scary if you were going for a cool, violent Reservoir Dogs vibe. Like, they could have cut his ear off. But it's not funny, nor is it scary, nor is it cool, because it's also obviously silly and fake. So what, and why would MJF, who is proven himself to be a student of the business and kind of understands what guys have done in the past to get over what works and what doesn't, or what's stupid, I mean, he's one of the few people they have left that anybody gives a shit about, and they've wiped their feet on that to the point where it's not the same as it used to be with him. And there's no direction to this. And no direction home with these complete unknowns. Like a big old fat bone. So
there's not a single fan who saw this who thought that MJF was going to light him on fire.
Okay, you know what? goddamn, maybe he should have done it. Maybe he should have just lit Mark Briscoe on fire to prove him wrong.
Well, he didn't. I guess that's the point.
Yeah. Well,
I've not been crazy about the MJF Adam Page build. Where Adam Page suckered MJF into making bad decisions by attacking his feelings. And then MJF threatened to burn someone, seemingly to death, I would assume. I don't know what you hope for when you light someone on fire.
Well, yeah, no. If you'd only wanted to hurt him, you would like poured a little gas in his lap or on his feet or something. But no, he went over the head straight down.
Is this a problem going forward where because he lit Swerve's childhood house on fire, now like whenever you want to do something with him, it has to involve fire?
Well, at least they're telling long-term storytelling here. See, is always connected. But it's just, again, this is, the WWE doesn't need to fuck with them. They're doing a good enough job on their own. Why would you, again, I ask, what audience is this silly, stupid, fake shit for? Just to laugh at them? People got enough problems. They don't need to tune in a television program just to laugh at how amateurish and bad it is. I assume they could find some comedies that would make them laugh in a more productive fashion. Who is this supposed to get excited? How exciting was this when you're laughing like, look at these dumb fucks with their fake fucking gasoline. And they're in a war it's hopeless. They can't possibly win it, but they refuse to even put up a good fight and just be serious. It's just, we're going to take this fucking guy for his money and just do the shit that we like to do that's fun. And look at this. How about if we set him on fire? Act like we're going to. What about a baseball bat with spikes in it? That'd be fucking hilarious. And they just get away with it. And it doesn't change their business for positive or negative, because there is that core group that wants to, for whatever reason, watch broken down Japanese people and silly, frail, pale looking Americans fake fight. There you have it. By the way, there's about another half an hour left in the show, but I really don't know what they might have done that would top threatening to fucking set the guy on fire. So I bowed out at this point. I'd about had enough. I figured I got the flavor of the thing. Did I miss anything?
Well, we'll discuss that, I guess, with the ratings momentarily, but they had a big women's match.
So I didn't miss anything.
Which more than likely we weren't going to watch or evaluate, so I don't know if you missed much, but that was AEW Dynamite. Jim, let's get to the ratings.
Well, hold on here a second. But now we've told people what there's no use in watching or paying attention to because it's all silly and fake and stupid. What can they do with their extra time this week? Might they even be able to listen to a program on the Arcadian Vanguard Network?
Well, thank you very much. That's the most professional setup for a plug I think we've ever had here on the show, and I appreciate it.
So tell them what fucking programs you got going on that louse-ridden network.
It's not louse-ridden. Get the fuck out of here. We got great fucking shows on the fucking network, Arcadian Vanguard. Get information about all the shows on Twitter at Superpodcast or on Facebook, facebook.com/Arcadian Vanguard. Of course, each and every day, get your wrestling news for free. The wrestling news and the morning wrestling newscast. Get it directly from thewrestlingnews.com or look for Arcadian Vanguard's The Wrestling News wherever you find your favorite podcast. No clickbait, no paywall, just The Wrestling News. Want to make mention?
What streaming service do you have to subscribe to get these programs?
Free wherever you get free podcast. It works like that. Pay for nothing. Get it for free. This is an awful plug. Ladies and gentlemen, we also want to make mention of Stick to Wrestling with John McAdam. Another great look at 1985 in the WWF. McAdamPod.com, or look for the show wherever you find your shows. And of course, Shut Up and Wrestle with Brian Solomon. The Best of Volume 3. Hear great moments with lots of great stars having great talks. SUAWpod.com or Shut Up and Wrestle with Brian Solomon, wherever you find your favorite podcast, and the 605 Superpodcast, The Mothership!
Ah, Jesus Christ, he's disabled my sound effects, folks.
Go through the archive, 605pod.com, available wherever you find your favorite podcast, The Mothership.
How come this fancy Dan sound filter we got won't filter out that bellowing of yours, you bellicose bumpkin?
Oh, Dr. Smith, I see that you've arrived late into the show.
All right, well, what kind of a pain in my back was these ratings this week?
This past week, AEW Dynamite on TBS, August 20th, 2025, 8 to 10:06 p.m. On average, watched by 565,000 viewers.
Oh, good God.
The lowest total viewership for Dynamite since April 23rd. Of course, there was big competition.
There was?
Well, I saw Dave Meltzer quoted the Little League World Series was on.
Oh, come on. What?
The Little League World Series, where the top children baseball player, well, actually, best team, not the players, but it's the World Series of the best Little League players.
But wait a minute, I can understand the Little League World Series possibly being competition as far as pulling people off the AEW roster, but I can't believe that it would be competition as far as taking viewers away. The Little Leaguers.
Dynamite was number 7 for cable on the night in the key demo. Number 1 was South Park.
Well, that's no surprise either, and it was brilliant. But do you think...
But when's that? That's 10 o'clock, right?
But that's 10 o'clock, so that would have affected the last 6 minutes. But do you think that for once they could have realized, my God, this is a horrible television wrestling program, and just not watched it?
Well, let's see what the quarter numbers tell us, or the quarterly numbers. There's quarters filled with numbers. These were compiled by WrestleNomics. AEW Dynamite, August 20th, 2025 on TBS. Quarter 1, 8 to 8:15 p.m. The Will Ospreay, Death Riders, Jet Speed, Hiroshi Tanahashi live angle, 645,000 viewers.
Okay, so they started way down from where they normally start to begin with. And last week when they got the big pop over 700, didn't they start with 800 and something? So this time people just said, well, hell.
Well, hell continues into quarter 2. 8:15 to 8:30 p.m. Tanahashi and Jet Speed versus the Death Riders with picture-in-picture. The post-match with Bullet Club War Dogs. Oh, that's who those guys are.
Who is that? Who are these people? What are their even individual names? I didn't recognize a goddamn one.
Well, the Bullet Club War Dogs, Will Ospreay, Darby Allin, the Young Bucks, and the Ops. 573,000 viewers.
Wow. So that was slim pickings to begin with, and then they lost another 72,000 people. They have to stay fairly consistent from this point to even make their average.
Well, we go to quarter 3, 8:30 to 8:45 p.m. An ad break. The Adam Copeland Christian Cage Matriarchy live angle. 566,000 viewers.
Oh, good. Edge and Christian reunite as a tag team and lose 7,000 viewers. You can have the greatest talent in the world, and if they go out and they're in the middle of a shit show, you can't overcome that.
Well, we go to quarter 4, 8:45 to 9 p.m. Mark Briscoe's backstage promo, an ad break, Ricochet, the Gates of Agony, and MJF's backstage angle, and the start of FTR versus Brodito. 547,000 viewers.
And there goes another 19,000. And again, they got to get some back to make their average almost, don't they?
Well, let's see what happens here. Quarter 5, the big 9 o'clock hour, 9 to 9:15 p.m.
20-something more minutes of tag team tomfoolery.
The continuation of FTR versus Brodito with 2 rounds of picture-in-picture. 543,000 viewers.
Okay, and at least they're holding them.
Well, the hold continues into quarter six.
They're holding the lowest number of the show so far.
It may be a stranglehold. 9:15.
They stopped the bleeding.
9:15 to 9:30 p.m. Continuation of FTR versus Brodito. The post-match with the Hurt Syndicate. The Okada Swerve Strickland video.
I missed that, thankfully.
And an ad break. 559,000 viewers.
So they got another 16,000. Well, bless their little pea-picking hearts.
We go to quarter seven, 9:30 to 9:45 p.m. The Adam Page, MJF, Ricochet, Gates of Agony live angle, a.k.a. the attempted murder of Mark Briscoe. An ad break. And then the Page, Ricochet, Gates of Agony backstage angle. 529,000 viewers.
Ooh, and that's where they said, all right, this is ridiculous. And we lost 30,000 and we're only down 116,000 from the start because they started in the toilet already.
And we'll talk about the key demo number in a moment, but here is quarter 8, 9:45 to 10 p.m. A reminder, 6-minute overrun. Athena and Mercedes Moné versus Alex Windsor and Tony Storm with picture-in-picture. 556,000 viewers.
They got some back.
6-minute overrun, continuation of that match, and the post-match with Persephone, who we previously pronounced as Persephone, and everyone got mad. 560,000 viewers. The key demo number, quarter one was 229, and then it was 204, 218, 214, 202, 200, 203, 211, 205. So that is, you'd almost think that's their base cable audience, because that's about as low as that's steady across the board and low.
Well, taking away the first quarter again, because that's never indicative of what the program's going to do. Every quarter from there on out was between 573 and 529. So that's a 44,000 person, 573, 566, 547, 543, 559, 529, 556, and 560. So we said they're down to round about 600,000 people, give or take on the week, that will suffer through this. And that number is every year they lop off about another 100,000. Because when they started, it was 900 and 800 and 700 and 600. Now they're in the fives. We'll see. They've got no more stars. They got nobody they can bring in. There are no dream matches. There's nothing interesting where I'd really like to see the big show with this guy versus this guy.
Every 6 months, they wheel Kenny Omega out. That's a big moment still, and then he disappears again off TV.
And now Osprey again. We have to, because we did so much talking real quick as we close up here. We did so much talking about how he bumbled, not really telling anybody what's the matter with him. Thankfully, they're not going to put the fucking belt on him at Forbidden Door, or that they didn't before now, because now he'll be out for who knows how long with neck surgery from doing a lot of shit that was frankly unnecessary and probably falling through a lot of furniture. So when they get a star, or they get a guy that can be one of their top guys, or their top guy, either they run him off, he doesn't get along with the other people, or he hurts himself and he runs his own self off, or they book him into goddamn oblivion. And I don't see who's on the horizon that's going to change that. So the WWE, that's why I feel like they've picked now to go here. We can pretty much powderize these sumbitches right now and be on our way and own everything. What are they going to do about it?
They've run out of access to stars, and the stars they have keep going down. Well, that was AEW Dynamite.
It certainly was.